Welcome to the show, folks. So glad you can tune in and join us. If you don't know me yet, my name is Mike Asherbrenner. I am the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community, also known as the Redneck Connector. And you are tuning in to Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN 106.1 FM. All right, folks, we are bringing to you live. All right, if you're here with us, if you're watching live, fantastic. If you're listening on the air, thank you for tuning in. All right, because behind every profitable business is one unshakable truth. It all comes down to people, folks. And no one, very few, understand that better than Michael Joesten. All right, with 20 plus years of experience helping leaders and organizations thrive, Michael has built a career on diagnosing organizational health, transforming culture, and equipping leaders to get the results from their teams that they want and expect. So, as a performance and engagement specialist, Michael also shows executives and business owners how to shift from surface level fixes to strategic strategies that create sustainable growth. All right, love having this guy in the Hounds. We're going to pick his brain and let's get this party started. Thank you for tuning in, Homer, and everybody here. Super excited for you to be with us as usual.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope. We turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
All right, folks, let's bring up Michael Joesten and find out if he also knows about crawfish and singing on a Friday night. How are you, big dog?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, my pleasure. How long have you been in the Hounds of Business community? You remember? Because I can't.
Yeah, it's been about 4 months.
Oh, good. Good. Well, hopefully you're happy and you're still
Very
here.
much.
There you go.
Yeah, no, very supportive group. Love the Hounds.
Hey, birds of a feather flock together, big dog. So
for sure.
Let's start here. All right, at the beginning. It's a good place to start, I think. So what drew you into the people side of business? Right, there's many sides of it. And when did you realize that this was more than just HR stuff? Like, it was the key to profitability?
Yeah, so two things really. If I go back to my original job, some early jobs that I had, both when I was still in high school, while I was in college, and then my first career out of college, just had really, really bad bosses, right?
Yeah, amen.
They didn't care about people. They cared about results. And this is back in the late 80s, early 90s, and things back then were just pound, and get results. And there was like no interest in connecting with the people. They would connect with the people that were already doing well, but for others, they weren't. And it was just such a put off, right, for me, because I honestly showed up every day and I wanted to do a good job. And in so many ways, I did do a really good job.
Right.
And I believe that inherently about people. Everybody wants to show up. 90% of people want to show up. 95% want to show up and do a good job and contribute, right?
Right.
And so just having that experience of these really awful bosses, I'm like, there has got to be a better way. But at the time, I'm like, I don't know any better, right?
Right. You're the only one thinking that, it seems like, right?
Yeah. Well, and then, so the second thing that happened was, so I owned, after those careers, I owned two different businesses, and real short, history. One was really super successful. The other one was not nearly as successful. And I'm sitting there after both of these, and one was a really profitable exit, and the other was a not so profitable exit. But I'm weighing it. I'm like, what is going on? What allowed one thing to prosper so well, and the other not? And I started studying like mindset gurus, and that's what I was able to bring it down to. Was it was the mindset that I had in both of those ventures that made all the difference in the world. And I'm like, all right, well, there's 7 billion people on the planet, so we got 7 billion different mindsets going on.
Right.
That's going to go really far into how individuals succeed as well as how organizations succeed. And so that birthed my that's when I started my consulting practice and really started focusing on the people side of things.
I mean, that's remarkable. We had the Six Sigma legend, right, Sabir Chowdhury, on the show recently. It said the similar thing. He said, and you've uncovered this, and why does one company, right, go through the same systems or processes and they'll see a 10x result, while company B gets 100x? And ceteris paribus, right? Everything remaining equal, they should both get 100x, right, or 10.
Sure.
And you're saying, well, it's because of the people, the leader, the culture, all of that makes a massive difference. So it's not just Sesame Street feel good nonsense. This is bottom line results.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. And I have to remind people all the time. Like, I care about people, right? And I want great relationships with people, but at no time do I ever expect that we need to lower our standards and shoot for less than. Right. No, quite the opposite. There's so much more to achieve. Let's raise the standards, but let's really approach getting those higher standards differently than what we might be used to.
Right. Well, on that note, you've worked with leaders at every level, right? Frontline supervisors, C-suite, and everything in between. So if you don't mind, what's one story that really captures, the difference that engagement alignment can make in an organization?
Yeah, I worked with a client one time that it was one of the worst examples I've had of a organization that was absolutely trying to devour itself from within. I mean, they were just like, departments weren't aligned. Not only were departments not aligned, they were sabotaging each other.
Wow.
Because for some reason they thought if their department looked better than the other department, somehow that meant they were better instead of the entire organization doing better. And the problem was they were experiencing a sort of level of success when you would compare to other organizations or other businesses nearby. But when you started expanding out and looking at who are some of the industry leaders, like, they were woefully behind.
Right.
And I think luckily the owner of the company recognized this is not sustainable. This is not a good place to be, but really didn't have any clue about how to get there. And so what I did was went in and started working right away on culture and defining what is that culture going to be. And then what are ways we can live that ideal culture that we're building? How can we live that out? And here was the really cool thing too. I told him, I said, how much stomach do you have for this? Because this is going to turn some people off to the point where they're going to leave. And he's like, well, if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. I'm like, glad you have that attitude, because that's exactly what happened.
Oh, that's easier said than done. Oh,
yeah, it is, especially when you have a high producer. But if they're counterculture, we know that, and I think everybody kind of understands that. But when it comes down to it, you got to go,
man.
But once we did that, once we started focusing on all those things, everything turned around. I mean, now departments were collaborating with one another, right? The hiring practices changed dramatically. Started hiring people that were aligned instead of people that were out for themselves. and they look for ways to support one another, and they experienced a 10x growth. Actually, this organization did.
Well, on that note, see, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've experienced this in my own life, right? You, the leader or leader of the company, ideally, you have to have an awareness and willingness to change and be coachable. So somebody can't just say, "Oh, I want a magic wand. I want production and revenue to increase, but I want to stay the same. I want to have the same crap culture, same crap attitude." Right.
Yeah.
So, elaborate on that if you would, because again, we know it, we sense it, but we're busy and we'll get to it later and all of these excuses. Meanwhile, we don't understand that if we're not inclining, we're declining. So you talk a lot about the leadership gap, right? For folks who might not see it yet, what is it? What is the leadership gap and why is it such a hidden risk for companies today?
Yeah. I'm glad you bring that up. So the leadership gap really is, so you might have an organization and they've got like really good people with technical skills, like they know how to do the job.
Right.
And they know how to do that job so well that we think, well, when there's a promotion to be had, we're going to promote that person because they're the best at what that is.
Right.
The truth is, here's what I learned a while ago. It's one thing to manage yourself, to make yourself really good at what you do. It's an entirely different thing to manage other people or lead other people. Those are two very different things.
I noticed that in the fire department. Just because you were a good lineman or a line officer does not make you a great command officer. It's a different playing field. Keep going.
Right, exactly right. So that's the gap, right? Mm-hmm. It's just because I'm good at the thing doesn't mean I'm going to be good at leading other people in the thing. Now, here's the other part that gets in the way. And this goes to what you were just saying just before the question. There has to be any kind of a leader has to have a high level of self-awareness. And I think kind of part and parcel with that is they have to have a level of humility to know I don't have all the answers. And then use that self-awareness to look at, okay, well, where am I deficient? What am I not good at? And then a willingness to, all right, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at listening to people and hearing them out. So now I need to change that about me. And I need to put extra effort into listening intently to what people are saying, as an example. And that's how you start to close that leadership gap. That and it could be anything, right? There are myriad leadership capabilities. You may be good in some, but you may not be good and chances are everyone is not good in a couple. And those are the ones we want to focus on.
Right. When we're not talking perfection here, right, Michael? What we're talking about is improvement, incremental improvement, and internal improvement. Because and we'll get to this in a second, I would love to dive into the culture aspect of how that really increases rate of returns, retention costs decrease. But I learned this a long time ago. I said, my organization, community, and businesses will only grow to the level that I'm willing to personally grow. Now, that sounds good on paper. That sucks in practice. It's a real hard journey. But to look at yourself and say, listen, why is this not working? I could blame everybody else, or I could examine if my expectations and orders or whatever you call it aren't clear, then how can I expect everyone to do it? Yeah, right. And it's a real basic, laughable type of thing, but it's real.
It's so true.
You got a million and one things to do as a CEO and leader, and that's why we have folks like Michael Joesten out here, so they can zoom out. They can see the forest from the trees. They could be objective. Right. And it's not that you're stupid. You didn't build a successful business being stupid.
Quite the contrary. Right.
Right. But you just can't see it. So
exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's part of that self-awareness and being able to take that time to step back. I think it's a little bit of a paradox that some business owners get into when they first get into the business. They're doing a lot of those things and they're they're laying this groundwork for this is how the business operates, but they kind of paint themselves into a corner unwittingly and they don't even see it. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't have time to step outside and look at me because I'm too busy doing these things that I know is what got me here in the first place. So
absolutely, because what got you there won't necessarily take you there. Not in
without a doubt.
and I've learned that. So before we dive into the culture, because I know folks want to know, and quit being shy. I'm watching people watch us, and they're not being shy. So chime in with your good experiences. I know somebody out there had a bad boss, right? So yeah, chime in and ask the question. But before we do, let's go in and give Mike King and Mike King Biz Radio a shout out. Mike King, thank you for the opportunity, collaboration, and partnership to get much needed information out there to the folks who are grinding to build a business and make an impact in this world, right? So Mike King, he's so loved by his community in Richmond. Michael, they put him on the jumbotron during the ball games. You watch for it,
Nice,
right? So thank you for our partnership. We get to push people up on an international scale here. And folks, don't go at this alone. If you're listening on the air, if you're watching live, go to our YouTube channel, plug in the more great info from great business leaders with heart. Hounds of Business on YouTube. You can find me, Mike Asherbrenner, Redneck1 on LinkedIn, or send an old school carrier pigeon, folks. I still take those, weather pending. All right. So if you're just tuning in, we are back with Michael Joesten. Go to his website, michaeljoesten.com. That's Michael, JOESTEN.com. All right. He's got lots of free stuff, articles, performance, everything else. And we're going to pull this up in a minute, but he's got a PDF that I thought was absolutely fantastic. Value first. All right. I love this. If you read Michael's stuff and it doesn't work and it's not aligned with you right now, then he's not going to try to sell you a coaching thing that you clearly don't need. All right. But if you read this, if you listen to it, and then you go, I need that. It's called seed planting. That's why he works so well on the Hounds here, because that's what we're all about. All right, Michael. So diving into the culture and engagement, the practical, the real. Right,
Yeah.
In your experience, what separates companies that say they care about culture from those who actually use it as a competitive advantage?
I think you can summarize this down to, actually, I don't think it, I know it. You can summarize it down to one word, and that is integrity, right?
Bingo.
And and I look at integrity different. Some people look at integrity as it's a value that they have. I see integrity as just simply you either do what you say you're going to do, or you don't do what you say you're going to do, period.
Yeah.
And so with any value, you're either in integrity or you're out of integrity with those values, right? But regardless, the companies that are willing to stand behind that culture and say, this is important to us and this is why it's important to us, and when we see people that are violating this or working against it, we're going to address that, and we're going to address it real quickly. Those are the ones that are truly living it. The ones that are out of integrity are like, well, yeah, this guy, he's our top producer. He may not fit exactly, but there's a lot to lose if we get rid of him. And so,
right.
And the problem is that this is where you destroy your culture, is when the line level people, right, that the first tier workers, employees, they see that and they're like, well, if it doesn't matter for him, then it's not going to matter for me. And
yeah,
right.
Sounds like kids. Sound like my kids, right? I can talk all day, but they're going to pick up my bad language and everything else, right? And the good stuff, right? Because again, we're people, even if we want to, right? And so it's very insightful, and we hear it a lot, right? These kind of things. But you're saying no. You got to practice these to make a difference.
Not only that. So here's a real quick. So here's how real high performers work, high performing cultures, and that is where you have a line level part, like someone down at the bottom of the org chart. They're able to go up to the CEO or the COO and say, I've got a real concern here. We say we're about this, but our actions are doing this. When somebody at that level is able to go up to the leader and say that, and the leader can entertain that thought, and say, you're right, we have a disconnect and we need to do something about that. That's that winning culture. But
Yeah.
that's not, there's so much that goes into that where that leader is able to hear that. There, and what that says is there's a lot of trust going on in that organization to be able,
Yeah.
for them to be able to say, I've got concerns.
Yeah, and not to brag, but that was hard fought for me. That's not, I'll be open about that. But thank goodness I did that. Thank goodness that was a priority because now people respectfully and will come out and say things. But they also realize too, if you bring that up, there's probably a 99% chance that you're going to help lead that. So be careful what you bring up, right? Because we're going to be a part of the solution. You're just not going to have a complaint box, right? We're going to have an action box, and you're probably going to be driving that, right?
Exactly.
So, but again, I love the attitude because that's where it starts, right? So we pulled up your PDF, folks. You can go on to his website, michaeljoesten.com. Go pull this down for yourself. And there's a lot of good stuff in here, not too much, just enough to help you get started. And then if you want expert assistance and a consultation, obviously reach out to Michael. But we have challenge 1, right? In creating high performing teams. It says limited leadership awareness and buy-in. And then challenge 2, inadequate communication and collaboration. And number 3, organizational culture that doesn't support it. Woo, that's the icing on the cake. So here's the question. For a leader or business owner listening right now, right? What's the first sign their people strategy might be broken? What should they be looking for to realize this is a priority, not something to do later?
Yeah.
How they know?
I think, again, they need to take that time and be able to step back and objectively look and see, are there disconnects here? Are there serious disconnects going on within the organization? And sometimes you don't even have to step that far back sometimes, because you might see a disconnect with the results, the performance that might be suffering. Well, as we dig into the performance, we might go to a supervisor, manager, or leader and say, what's going on? And they'll say, well, it's because ABC. That's why we're not hitting our numbers. But then you go to some other people, right, within the organization at a lower level. What do you think's going on? Oh, it's D, C, E, and F. Well, now there's a huge disconnect, right? They're not on the same page. Well, why are they not on the same page? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, like challenge number 1, right? There's that leadership gap.
Right.
They're not understanding the role that they play in driving performance and culture and strategy. Also, we know challenge number 2, communication stinks. It's broken. What you're saying is not being heard, or what I'm hearing is different than what you're saying. Right.
Yeah.
And then the third piece is that, that third challenge then is the culture. So just looking for those disconnects, I think is really the number one thing that a leader can be looking at to know if things are broken.
I completely agree with that. And I've said this like a broken redneck parrot, Michael, that, I say the only thing that can mess up something good with value aligned people and a profitable business and community and everything else is miscommunication and holding it in and getting resentful. And we pretend like we don't. We do. We're human, right? Right. Before we're business people, dadgummit, we're people, Michael, right? And so, and I've noticed that. And that's why I have an open door policy, right? Use your manners. Don't be ridiculous. All right. But if you come with hey, I'm doing this in the best interest of our mission, the organization, and by the way, if you're in an organization that doesn't promote that, practice that, reward that, then either go get another one or start your own business that you can make sure.
Yeah.
That's what motivates me. I'm like, you know what? I'm sure there's good businesses out there, but I'm done shopping around for them, right? Needle in a haystack. I'm just going to go out there and create the antidote to the stuff I want to see exist. So let's leave on this note. Take a minute or two if you don't mind. And folks, again, If you want to learn more, you want to connect with Michael, start applying his approach to your organization, start at michaeljoesten.com. All right, go download the free guide, hang on to it. So if and when it becomes an issue or priority, you know where to go. All right, and you got a resource. Last question. You've been doing this for over 20 years, my friend. So, and gas was what, $1? All right. So what's one leadership lesson that surprised you or maybe even humbled you that you still carry with you today?
You know, I'll tell you, probably the most humbling thing I did. Well, so I'm a big proponent of understanding, like where are the gaps, right? Doing gap analysis and where do we want to be, but where are we at, and where's that gap? And it was the first time I was using a 360 survey, and it made perfect sense to me. And I go rolling out this 360 survey, and everybody takes the survey, and I'm sharing the results. I did not do a good job of setting this up, of explaining it. I thought it was awesome, and I'm the kind of guy that's like, hey, if something's wrong, if I'm showing up odd or weird or counterproductive, tell me. So I assumed everybody wants to know that, right? Well, I probably wasn't as understanding or empathic as I needed to be in that, and it just kind of blew up, and so that was really a humbling experience, and I guess what was really humbling about it was I was well into my career, and I understood people are different, people have different perspectives. But I completely kind of followed my own paradigm around it, and I thought what was important to me is obviously important to others, and it wasn't, and so that was really humbling, and I had to do a lot of apologizing to people and sharing. I put my needs ahead of your needs, and I'm sorry about that, and let's make this right.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Number one, you're very open about this. And number two, you didn't just make this stuff up at a coffee shop to, real world experience, right? You've been there, you made some mistakes, you learned from those mistakes. And as I always say, why do people hire me? Well, for the crux of it, the major reason is because I failed more times than you tried, right? Nobody wants to go through what you just said 18 more times, right?
Exactly.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing really useful real world experience that these business owners listening in can practice. And again, folks, you want to learn some more now or later, go to Michael Joesten, JOESTEN.com, and download the free guide. Hang on to it. The man's a good person, or he wouldn't be in the house. So what I mean by that is that he practices what he preaches. He puts people's best interests first, and he leads with value, and he doesn't pitch slap with a P, pitch slap. All right, don't get me knocked off there. All right. So thank you, Michael, for being here. Thank you for being in the Hounds and sharing your knowledge, brother.
Oh, thank you, Mike. It's my pleasure. I appreciate it, and thank you for all you do to support us in the Hounds. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's an honor, because without you guys, I'm just some strange guy in a camo hat taking a walk, talking to himself. All right. So it's an honor to push you guys up. Hey, tune in next time, folks. Same time, same place. And we're going to have the one and only Colleen Stubbs. She is a brick and mortar, what. All right. And now she's in chapter 2. She's online, and she's building out CRMs and systems for folks who need them. Oh, especially midlife, right? Yeah, I'm pointing at myself. I could barely use an Etch-a-Sketch nowadays, but thank goodness I got quality people and a team and folks like Colleen. So we will see you back next time. Have a great day, Michael, all the folks in the Hounds on the air. We'll see you back. Hey, no strays out there. Welcome home. You got an impact to make. We're going to help you make it. All right. Shameless plug. I'm done with it. All right. Be good, y'all. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.